Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be, whatever time of day it is. Welcome to our morning here as dawn breaks at Djuma Game Reserve. My name is Mark. Andrew's with me on camera this morning, and we're about to head out for our morning safari. Next 3 hours we're going to try and bring you some wonderful sights from Africa. South Africa. Starting here at the waterhole or the dam just in front of Djuma. Djuma's Vuyatela Lodge. And look at those magnificent wings. The other one's also taken off for some reason. As we arrived here, the 2 saddleball storks arrived and did a cursory fishing, frogging expedition along the length of the dam. It seems they've flown off. I guess maybe they're heading to Buffelshoek Dam, maybe. For whatever reason it was that they took off, I don't know. Better hunting elsewhere, as an Egyptian goose comes in to join the crowd. Well, we didn't get much more rain last night. Had a lovely big thunderstorm move over, but it didn't leave any rain behind. All it did was wet things and make it dusty. But what it has done is it's improved tracking conditions for us, because it marks a time on the road where the patina of the sand changes after the raindrops have fallen, so anything after that is fresh and new. And I think there's a little bit of pink coming into the sky now as the sun rises through this very fast moving cloud. Alex is in final control this morning, our main control room, and Brian and Brent will be joining us. Well, we'll cross over to them at some point soon. Let's drive a little bit. I would like to get back up to, where shall we go? The idea is to head a little bit west and a little bit south and see if we can't go and follow up on something quite amazing that we saw last night. We were lucky enough to see Tingana, a big male leopard from an area southwest of us. We're out in Arathusa, a big male leopard there, whose name is Tingana. Could be a bit confusing. There used to be a young female that was named Tingana, but her real name is Shadow, I think. Yes. I think that's why they reverted to Shadow, because Tingana the male moved in. I don't know. Could be that Tingana was only called Tingana, the young female, Karula's daughter. She was only called that by a few people. Oh, hello Impala. Two ewes and 2 lambs. Either they were separated from the herd or they lagging behind in the herd. It's deeper in this dense vegetation that we're sitting around. You see, this is a little boy. His horn buds are starting to grow out. And there's some yellow flowers just to the right of him. The yellow flowers of the senna. We'll try and get a closer view of those as we head up the road. Far too few flowers this season for the Sabi sand. That sent them running. Goes to show how everything is so sensitive in the mornings, or generally. One of the most adrenaline pumping things. There's a senna just next to us. When you're out on foot and you're either tracking an animal or you're doing a walk, or you just happen to be walking through grassland, even tracking it's worse because you're expecting a leopard or a lion somewhere close by, and then a francolin does what that francolin just did, flies up out of the grasses next to you screaming its head off. And I know exactly how those impala felt, because they're constantly aware of sounds and whether there could be predators, and if a francolin flies up alarming right next to them, it could be a leopard. The monkey pod. Although, gee, there's another monkey pod actually. Mostly up in East Africa, well, further north of us at any rate. I suppose you might find them in Zimbabwe. I think maybe the seeds come down the Zambezi as well. But there is another plant known as a monkey pod. That's a huge creeper that has probably the longest seed pods. And being of the sort of the mimosa family, the legumes to some, well, no, not legumes, but they have pods like legumes. And the monkey pod up there, the creeper, has got legumes that are over a meter, or not legumes, seed pods over a meter long. And each individual seed can be up to even 3 meters in diameter. So they're used in jewelry and all sorts of things. Key rings, belts. Welcome to our morning. Cloud is clearing and the sun is shining. Brent, I copied that. Sorry, Alex, who was that from? Oh. St. Patrick's Day sunrise, I've just been reminded. Lynn in Canada. Hello, Lynn. Thank you. Wishing St. Patrick's Day to all the crew, and I'm going to bounce that back to all of you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. How green is your day? We're going to see if we can find a leprechaun today. about a green flower for St. Patrick's Day? That sounds like a good idea. I know where there is one. I found it yesterday and I didn't get a chance to show you. Nothing's been moving around. It was a very quiet night last night. I couldn't hear anything. There were no birds, there were no... I think the storm quietened everything down. Jeffrey, are there any four-leaf clovers? No, Jeffrey, there are actually. There is an aquatic plant that we find growing in some of the little mud wallows and some of the small pans. It's a very, very short-lived plant. I remember finding them just not at Chelapan itself, but in a small mud wallow just next to the road at Chelapan. So we'll do that too. I do want to get back to Arathusa. I've got some good news about Arathusa at the moment. I was listening to that just while we were watching the sunrise, and I'm going to make our way there. We're going to take us all there. We're going to invade, all hundreds of us. How many of us are there on the car at the moment? 1,000. We're all going to go to Arathusa and there's some things to see over there. But first, since I know it's going to be busy, there are a lot more vehicles traversing the area of Arathusa, and for now, while we're making our way there, we're going to just have a look at what is around here. I think Brent's gone up north, so I want to just make sure that we're not missing out on anything. So I want to see what animal movement there has been. Oh, that's the zebra from yesterday. Hyena since it was raining. Buffalo crossed to go to Rebecca's Road, but there's also buffalo. Also buffalo. There's buffalo and there's also buffalo. Few buff been around. So on the way to Arathusa we stop, and I'm going to see if that plant is not maybe growing on the edge of Chelapan. I doubt it, not with the way the buffalo in and out of that water every day. Might be some here. I'm not even sure what it is. No, there's not going to be. You see them buffalo and elephant, when the water starts drying up, it's not where that plant grows. That plant grows on the edges of the grasses where the water is at its highest, before these things get used as wallows. Nothing here this morning. Please repeat, I didn't understand that. Am I going to sing in a sec? Tell Mama when I get home. Harlequin, I don't know that song. I don't know any Irish songs. I know we used to listen to the Blarney brothers. I don't know if anyone knows who they are. I think they're South African or Irish South African, South African Irish. Look at that, that's beautiful. That is absolutely stunning. Jennifer, Heidi, Kathleen. Happy Patrick's Day back to you. So let's go up to Treehouse, back down to Weaver's Nest. A leopard fawn. Yes, we're going to go and find a leopard fawn. Who was that? That was Maddie. Hyena track's going to this old den. I'm going past it at any rate. I can think of it. I guess I'm going to have to, I've just been thinking, I'm going to have to read up on St. Patrick's and why it is St. Patrick's Day. Please excuse my ignorance. I haven't. Oh, I've heard those songs. Somebody mentioning Danny Boy. That's the kind of song you see in movies when the Irish cops all get together and sing at a wake or something. And When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, of course, that's something that's a pub song I think all over the world. Since I suppose to a large extent there were a lot of Irish seamen that travelled the world in the early days of shipping. And I suppose it's the spirit of the Irish that makes pubs what they are today. The pubs that I know of at any rate. We have every South African pub in the country I think is going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and with all the green things that go along with it. Despite I suppose being so far removed from Ireland, it was a very large Irish community, I suppose. So we all grow up with a fair amount of getting music in my ear. Oh, that sounds familiar. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, I shouldn't have done it. But yes, it's St. Patrick's Day. It's all about fun, I think. Then there is the what do you call it? The dancing, the type of dancing brought to the world, or brought to the attention of the world with, what was his name? Flatley, Ian Flatley, river dance, and then of course all the knockoffs that came after that. They're not, don't have to be knockoffs. It's just such a fantastic rhythmic movement and music. But I think that also spread the Irish word. Hey, it's looking very dark and wet in the southeast. Excuse me, starling. Good morning, starlings. You're supposed to be green today. You wear your blue on St. Patrick's Day. There's the little pan with that 4-leaf clover. I've seen it. I've seen it at home too. But see, it wouldn't be alive now. Only this little water, like a little mud wallow. Splash pool. It only really grows when the water's high, as I said, so but I'm taking a chance just in case. There. See, buffalo everywhere. Hello, go away birds. No, not jigs. That line dancing, no, not line dancing, but
river dance.
The river dance type dancing. This is in Duna's gardenia next to me. In Duna, when the water dropped down, wonderful. Looking forward to seeing myself with a green top hat and the 4-leaf clover. Duna used to lie underneath that gardenia a lot. He loved it there. And Mishu loved catching terrapins here. Chelapan, also known as frog pan. No 4-leaf clovers today, but what I'll do is morning, Brent. Yes, Alex is saying Brent finally caught up. Brent's tracking leprechauns. What a beautiful morning, even if the cloud is coming over very fast. Notice how fast it was moving in front of the sun. Well, it's now completely covered the sun, and this is a front. This isn't a storm cell like we were watching yesterday. This is a front, a cold front. That might be a little bit wet too. And subsequently a very quiet flap dancing. Is that what it is?
Tap dancing.
Tap dancing, no, not tap. Tap dancing must be, well, step dancing. I think the Irish out there must think we're a tad behind. Okay, I promise I'll brush up for next Patrick's Day. Go ahead again. Have I ever been to Ireland? No, I've never been to Ireland, nor Scotland, nor England, closest I've been is Austria, and it's not close. Maybe the closest I've been is flying from Austria to New York, flying a little bit closer. Maybe there's a question that can be answered for me. I saw somebody putting up a sign for St. Patrick's Day already last week, because advertising starts early to, I suppose, capitalize on the commercial aspect of it. And the sign read St. Patty's Day, with 2 T's, and I thought, oh no, that'll bring out the ire in an Irishman, or it'll irk an Irishman. I said, no, it's got to be with 2 D's. So if you shorten St. Patrick's Day, do you get St. Paddy's Day or St. Patty's Day? So the answer is in the subject on an email. It doesn't have to be a whole email, just a T or a D in the subject line. First one in is, I think it's got to be a D. Patty, not Patty. Patty lives in New Jersey. Ah, I remember that. Somehow in my school history, going back nearly half a century, there was something about a man who got rid of all the snakes in Ireland. That was St. Patrick. Thank you, Alex, or whoever mentioned that, reminding me. Really? I thought I was... The problem with speaking louder is on a quiet day like in the bush, I have no idea how the voice travels, and well, can we not put up volumes elsewhere? I'm speaking loud as I normally do. What do you think?
Your back's on my side. You sound fine to me.
That's at least. Thanks, Alex. Put it up a bit there. Starting to get quite dark. Are they saying P and or T? Both of them are okay. Marsha's saying D definitely. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we've finally got the count. D definitely way over T. Yeah, go ahead, Brent. Trinidad's going on to Gary Main, gonna head there west. Okay, I'm on it. Coming up from the south. Okay, copied. Are they on channel 2? There's some coming. How many movers are with you? Okay, where were they coming from? Okay, copy. We just missed them. pack of wild dogs. That car that's way up ahead of us on the road, just missed them too, but they might be able to go on to Little Gowrie. But just over that next little ridge. Is that misting up?
Yeah.
It's very damp. Okay, well they've gone south onto Weaver's Nest from, hang on a sec, here I go. Right, that's a very good answer from Sharon. The Irish spelling of Patrick is Padraig, P-A-D-R-A-I-G, if I remember correctly. And that is why it is with a D. There's Irish logic for you. Right, now where's that green flower? It's just a little bit further on, under the knobthorn forest. Where the leprechaun lives. Left little green forest. Coming up soon. After the quarries. Fast moving dogs running from Chitwa into Little Gowrie. They touched on Gowrie Main and then proceeded to go onto Little Gowrie south of us. Who knows, they could turn around. I want to just look. Do you remember where it was? That's Stapelia. Where's the leprechaun? Wow. Ran away very fast. Maybe here. Yes, here. Maybe they're not open today. It's greenish. It is a green flower. It's got a lot of red hairs and it's got a little bit of red on it. But this is my St. Patrick's Day, St. Paddy's Day flower. For the ladies, but for everybody. Everybody Irish. But now you see, I can't tell you what it's called, girls. Because it looks a bit yellow, but they are greenish flowers. I think if I had to open my book, it would be under the green flowers. It's known as Stapelia. I think that's Stapelia gigantea. And two buds on either side of it. That euphorbia looking succulent is the leaf behind it. It's a big, that is the flower, the plant itself. It's a succulent type plant. It looks very similar to a euphorbia. Stapelia, S-T-A-P-E-L-I-A. No, it's not a euphorbia. Now this flower attracts mostly flies, different types of flies. No flies on me today. The red lines, I don't know if it's maybe too pixelated, but it has very fine lines of red hairs that help to guide the insect. They're curved in a way that guide the insect to the center of the flower. It's not an insectivorous plant though. It doesn't do anything to them. It just needs those insects to pollinate it. And the seeds are very similar to the seeds of the milkweed. Asclepias. Sorry, Andrew. Moving out. You can zoom out. Beautiful flower. The Stapelia family. Friends, come in. I didn't make it to the dogs. Okay, copied. I'm heading to Arathusa eventually. Yeah, firm. The things are hiding because it's damp, because it's cooler than it was yesterday. It was so hot. One of those hot, humid evenings last night. A radical drop in temperature usually does have an effect on animal movement. Probably one of the reasons why we saw quite a few animals moving around yesterday afternoon, bulking up before because they would have felt this coming before they went into thickets, thicker bush. Okay, from coming. Our station is one in Yoni on Weaver's Nest. If there's anyone on Djuma. Nobody here. Everybody's gone to the Caton. Somebody's up ahead. No, it's not somebody, it's a Good morning. Oh, my radio's on. But I didn't see anything here. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome on Drive. I've got Brian on with me at camera, and I'm sure Mark said you know Alex and FC, and then Mark and Andrew on the other vehicle. We went looking for tracks of the Nkahuma Pride to see if they crossed in from Buffalo's Hook this morning. No luck. As you can see, it's quite overcast and cloudy, so the cats could be moving a bit more today. So we found those leopard tracks just before it got dark yesterday evening. It was a bit too dark for me to go walk too far. Would have been too dangerous. So we backed down in the Molati drainage, and we're going to check the drainage to see if there's any tracks. If nothing there, then we'll check up towards Buffalo's Hook Dam on Inyala Road, south and north. And well, welcome, and hopefully we get some luck this morning. Quite nice to have a cool morning for a change. But the rain last night threatened, and never arrived. There wasn't even enough rain to really dampen the dust. Good morning, Jeffrey from Texas. Welcome on Drive with us this morning. Jeffrey would like to know if anyone's seen that elephant with the prolapsed uterus. No, we haven't seen it again, not since that time off Rebecca's Road. Well, nothing yet, but we are coming closer to the area where we had we're getting close to the area we last had tracks. And hyena. Is that a stump or a leopard's ear? Yeah. It's a stump. Geez, it looked perfect, like ear shape for a leopard lying flat on its side. So the last tracks we had were just around this corner. No tracks coming back into the drainage line, which is not the best news. Good morning, Debbie from New Jersey. Debbie said the Nkuhuma Pride hasn't made a kill in 10 days. Is that unusual? And could they be in danger of starving? Well, Debbie, it's very difficult to say whether they've made a kill or not because we haven't seen them in a few days, and they have been to the north and to the west of us. So it's very possible they have made a kill, and without actually seeing them, we can't really tell. Yeah, no tracks. This is wonderful weather for cats to move in. I was sure he was going to come drink here, but it just doesn't look like it. So what we'll do is we're going to head back to that section where we came into the Mulwati, and then we're going to head north in the drainage towards the Nyala Road and check around there, because nice cool night like last night, dark night. The one thing about that is it's a very good time for leopards to make kills. So if he's caught something in this big block here, might be a few days till he comes out, unless we're lucky enough to find him coming to drink and then follow him back. Okay, come on. Feeling lucky. Oh, no tracks yet. So thankfully we got Eagle Eye Brian on the back checking above. Checking everywhere. Good morning, Jeffrey from Texas. Jeffrey would like to know, when we speak about a block, what's our definition of a block? Well, Jeffrey, it is basically a section of bush that has no roads through it. So it'll be an area between the different roads. Quite often why it's referred to as a block is that a lot of the roads are set out in sort of squares. Not all of them, but a few of them, so that's why we call it a block. Let's check this one. I think this is one of my favorite roads at Djuma in Yala Road South. Follow the small drainage line. It's a tributary of Mulwati. Oh dear. Oh, these are very these are from on top of that little bit of, I mean below the little bit of rain we had last night. Definitely male leopard tracks. Where did you go, mister? Much harder to see because that slight little bit of rain on top. See something? Log. Oh wow. I think I'm going to take a gamble here. Just going to shoot down into this drainage line. See if there are any tracks there because see if there are any tracks on the drainage line.
Cool. I've got a bird to look at.
Sorry? You got a bird to look at?
Oh, okay.
Oh. Alex coming. If you'd like to catch Mark, I'm going to go walking in the drainage line. Okay, copy, thanks. I'll stand by. Okay, here we go. Earlier this morning when we went live, Brian and I were talking about pangolins, and we were speaking about what they eat. I'm going to try to see if we can. And I said, well, the reason we don't see so many pangolins here is most of their food's not here. So there's little ants there. So 98% of the pangolins diet in this area consists of those ants, and they're called pugnacious ants. So wherever you find high densities of pugnacious ants, it's a good chance you're going to have a high density of pangolins. They are quite frustrating when you walk with sandals or open shoes, because as soon as you walk near them, they swarm and start attacking your feet. Hence the name pugnacious ants.
So now, here the ants, where's the pangolin?
Exactly. As Brian was mentioning, he hasn't seen a pangolin in the wild yet. And I was saying, I've seen quite a few, and especially in the Sabi Sands, but in areas where there's high densities of pugnacious ants. We don't have that bigger densities of pugnacious ants here on Djuma. Not to say that there wouldn't be pangolin here, there's always a possibility. Go ahead. Do you want me to try Mark on the other channel? Okay, so guys, I'm going to take a wander into the drainage line. I just chatted to Alex. He's probably going to cut across to Mark at some point while I'm gone. So don't miss me too much. I'll be back. And hopefully I will be back with a spotted cat. Bye.
and a very busy morning here at Arathusa, hence our stationary position at the moment. We're in a holding pattern, as it were, sitting on the airstrip. A lot of radioactivity, so I'm pausing in between because I've got to listen to the radio because hard to talk. Hang on. Yeah, Mark, you go. Affirmative. Okay, no problem. Strong wind coming up from the south that's blowing in this cold front. It's actually quite chilly, and I think I'm going to put a cover on myself because it's several degrees colder than it was at daybreak. Debbie in New Jersey saying that on Facebook, on the Lions of Sabi Sand page, that there's a post that says something about the Matimbas not having had a kill for about 10 days or so. I'm guessing that's an assumption, but evidently they're looking quite thin, and what the question is, how much longer can they go? Probably not much longer if they haven't. Thing is, being a fairly large group of lion, if they caught a kudu, that pride would finish that kudu within an hour or maybe a bit more and move on. It's not going to fill them up. So it could be that they've been killing the odd small thing that's been keeping them going, and it's happened overnight when no vehicles are with them, or even during the day when there are no vehicles with them. But I'd say if they haven't eaten a thing for the last 10 days, then it is pushing their limits at the moment. Now, as I was saying, we're sitting in a holding pattern, we're waiting. This road that we're on now, cutting off to the west from the airstrip here on Arathusa, has two main sightings on it. And one of them further west is the sighting of Tingana's big male leopard, who had killed an aardvark either yesterday, I think it was possibly even the evening before, and we managed to get to see him as it was getting dark last night. It's nice to be able to get back to him this morning. Unfortunately, there is a lot of activity around him. 3 vehicles with him and 3 vehicles on standby, which means there's going to be a considerable amount of time before we can get there or even contemplate going there. I hope we'll get there by the end of the morning drive. But there is still another wonderful sighting that we're about to be heading to. So you just stay with us here on the airstrip for a bit, and we'll be starting up and heading there shortly. And that is a surprise.
Leprechauns.
And they're not leprechauns. So I think we'll start maybe just slowly wandering through. Oh, here's a long-tailed shark, magpie shark. Oh. No, carry on. No, go ahead, Alex. Mark, you go. Copy that, thank you. Lovely magpie shrike. Okay, let's move. Time to go and see cats. But first, surprise! Okay, while we're driving, Sharon wants to know if a leopard female, if a leopard can have two cubs born of different fathers, born at the same time but fathered by different fathers. Yes, they can, and it's possible. It would be very nice to be able to have access to DNA facilities, and we could then get DNA from dung. Would be the best way to get DNA, and then we'd be able to settle that one once and for all. But then a female comes into estrus quite a while, and sometimes she might leave, I'm guessing, might leave the male territory that she's in during her estrus cycle and while she's ovulating. Well, it's an induced ovulation, so over the period of estrus, if she mates, she ovulates. So she could conceivably is the river Styx? Do you know, Andrew? Hang on. Morning. Very good, and you? Good. Good morning, morning. Yes, thank you.
Just stood up, so.
Oh, nice. Nice cold weather for cats.
Okay.
There was a river, and then what's the story about crossing the river Styx? Isn't that an Irish tale? Or it's Scottish? Help somebody. Right, there you are. Station Wingala. Now I've got your visual, can I pull in? Go. Wingala, so given the sprides away, Tingana is not much further on from here. And I guess we ought to be going around the other side because there's going to always go around that way. Around that way. little bit further west is the leopard up the tree, and here we get around a little bit two Matimba males. But you might have guessed from my question that I asked just shortly, you might have guessed that there are some other cats with these boys. Park right on top of the cat. Where are we going to be able to go? Unfortunately, we can't really get.
Pull it straight, yeah, it's really good.
No, I'm going to try it. There's a lot of dead wood here to get through.
Where you are, Liam. Okay, slowly make your way. As soon as you quite near, just make now.
Yeah, sorry, Alex copied that. Okay, copy that, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna move now, Andrew, so that we can film. Let's go back a little bit. We'll be able to, hopefully, before someone else comes in, set the tone a little bit different. The vehicles that have been here park right on top of the cat, so that not really easy for other vehicles to see what's going on. And just want to get to see this a little bit further back. So yeah, that will probably be the best if that other male gets up. He's just turned around now. Sorry, I didn't want to really talk very, very close sighting here because difficult to disturb other people sitting on the vehicles that are having a sighting right next to us. I don't want to disturb their video or their experience. So it was some nice quiet time with one of the Matimbas, and yes, the two stick squirrels sleeping back to back between the two Matimbas. A beautiful sighting, although they are flat cat, and that male looked quite cold at one point. He was kind of curled up like a kitty. This is the brother. Now, just getting a few emails saying that the River Styx is the river between the two worlds, up here in the underworld. I suppose so. Crossing the River Styx is a metaphor for dying, perhaps. That's what it is, maybe. So, why did I think it was a real river in the real world? And then there was a question about, I can't remember who it was from, but it was whether a cat can have identical twins. The cubs in a litter, how could you tell if any of them are twins in the sense of the embryo splitting as opposed to two different eggs? I suppose DNA would be one of the only ways to tell in lion. I suppose leopard, if they were identical twins, you'd find possibly identical markings with maybe a very, very slight variation. Very good question though, I have to be honest. Hello Brenda, where is the other Matimba male? Well, that was the one that we first saw, but he's now lying. As you can see, there are the two Sticks girls. Just a little bit further on. We were closer to him earlier. And there are some other vehicles coming in. So I just want to stop or prevent other vehicles from driving right up to them like the other two vehicles were when we got here. They were parked sort of right on top of these cats. I suppose the cats get used to it, but it's really unnecessary because of the zoom lenses that everybody has these days. And one shouldn't really be in between the lion of a pride. And maybe the other vehicles that will be coming here shortly will then have to take my lead. Now the leopard sighting is still very busy. There's still vehicles cycling through that sighting. So we'll sit with the lion for a while and chat about them, these two Sticks ladies, and the Matimbas. Liam's coming. Come around. Let me move forward a little bit so that Liam can get in here. Around a bit. Good in you. He's awake. A little bit of a, I don't know if that's a snarl or a grimace, or there's grass tickling his nose. Oh. She's got quite a
ticks, yeah.
tick on, yeah,
Quite a few ticks.
on her eyes.
6 or 7.
She's not getting groomed much, or certainly not around the eyes, I guess. Billy, morning to you, asking a question. Where was Billy from?
Florida.
Florida. Will lion eat lion if they come across them, if they're starving, or under what circumstances? Well, Billy, we have seen lion eating lion. We have had several quite shocking sightings. Well, I have at any rate. What the circumstances are and what the reasons are, that is something that only the lion really know. They're not necessarily starving, might not necessarily have anything to do with hunger at all. Might just have something to do with rivalry, might have something to do with not leaving behind a member to a lion to be torn apart by hyenas. There is only guesswork that can be done as to why. That it happens, I can confirm that it does. And we have actually witnessed it. Quite recently, the Ngahumas lost one of the females to... Who was it that killed that lioness? Was it the No, it wasn't the Matimbas.
I don't think.
It was the Birmingham's. I don't know. I can't remember things.
I just heard that they found a carcass at the hyena den. They're not sure what exactly.
They found a lion.
That. Okay, I'm not sure.
When was that?
Wasn't there a lion at the hyena den? Lion cub? Carcass?
Was that while I was on leave?
That was before I got here.
Oh. No, I don't know. I'll have to find out about that. It's first I hear that. But there was just recently, before I went on leave, so it would have been during February.
So I'm thinking
hang
of
on.
leopard.
So cat's moving with his kill. Sounds like he's moving with his... Maybe we should go and see if we can... Let's go see if we can catch up with Tingana. Can't go back now. coming up. She's also got a lot of ticks. And flat again. I mean, since they are flat, they're not going to be going anywhere, I think. Okay, I'm pulling out of Ingala Lock, leaving Liam space for 2. So it sounds like, sadly, our cat has left the tree. And he's now evidently carrying the remains of his kill, I think, heading east, which will be probably coming this way somehow. Station with Ingwe. Confirm he's crossed Chile's border. Copy that thing. Oh. Yeah, affirmative. Cats are going to be there for on the way back to my place for them again. But if we don't go to the leopard now, we're not going to see him because he's moving south. And I suppose it might have been better to go around onto the boundary, but from here, I hope I don't think we've gone past it yet. But he's not there where he was in the tree, so we've got to try and get in to where he was and see if we can find them again. We're in Kentucky. Could the pressure of the pools from game drives, it's not clever, Mark. That's my camera in the box, my book box. Could the condition of the line have something to do with the pressure of the vehicle? Here's the tree. He was moving south across here. There's nothing in the tree. He's taken everything with him. So south and east. So are we coming? Yeah, Mark here, I just hit the cut line now. Mark here, go. Okay, copy, I'm on my way. Thank you. Can I join? Negative, go again. Yeah, okay. This vehicle makes too much noise with the machines. I'm just going to come in north. Okay, I got your visual. Just in time, perhaps, because he is possibly going to head across that boundary, and if it does go south, then that's the end of Tingana for a while. For us, at least, our access to him. Monkey orange everywhere. There was a pretty bad fire here last year, so a lot of this is recoppicing, regrowth after the fire. Taking selfies. Uh-oh. Didn't like that, did he? Okay, so it was the Birminghams, that's correct. Okay, so it was the Birmingham that killed, oh, there's that big log. Birminghams that killed that Karuma female. And it was Pundy's cub, the leopard cub, that was found at a hyena's den. No? Oh, I suppose the second cub then, maybe. I thought he had taken his kill down out of the tree, but I guess he... maybe he's making for that termite mound. mandarin. No. Did we lose it?
I think he's far up this.
Oh, he must be here, close to the road by now. Or does he lay down somewhere? How could he was there 2 seconds ago? Don't stand there. He was coming towards the Shaduli, so he must have laid down somewhere because he hasn't come out onto the road. He's somewhere to your right. Oh, 1 minute he was there, next minute loot. That's so strange. I had to look away for a second to try and find my way through the bush, and the road is right here. How can that be? Now if you need to stand because there's no one here, but he's got to be here somewhere. Uncanny. I gave him a lot of space, and maybe I'm afraid this is a real puzzle. Only when a leopard does this, they just go to ground and sleep. Just lie down somewhere. key. Mr. Zahin, man, I was looking away for that moment. He was more or less heading east, and if he carried on he would have hit that road, but there's nothing, can't find anything on that road. Yes, the stickler's calling a bit further on. Going for?
Brian and I are having a very slow morning again. We can't find any fresh tracks. All the tracks we find are from before the rain or during the rain, and we've covered a bit of ground. So it's nice and cool, so we're gonna start heading towards the hyena den. Hopefully there's some activity there. But yeah, this weather is great for cats and predators to move around in. But I mean, we're not even seeing impala at the moment, although we have seen a few steenbok. And a duiker, yes. Well, bird-wise, we haven't seen much. Some squirrels. But hopefully the hyena den is active. We've seen tracks of one early bull, but also from much earlier during the rain. So at the moment we've been following tracks, or trying to follow tracks that are about 12 hours old, which is always a lot more difficult. But don't worry, we haven't given up. Looks like the clouds breaking up a little bit, so it might be a spot of sunshine a bit later. Hopefully it brings everything out to frolic. Whoops. And we even went to Buffalo's Dam. Not even a buffalo. Oh, it's quiet. Looks like everything's moved to Arathusa at the moment. But that's the bush. As I said, with a dark, windy night like it was last night, the strong possibility there's a lot of leopards who might have caught stuff during the night. So they haven't been moving around. That's why we're not seeing tracks that are fresh from this morning. Only seeing tracks from last night. The Lion's Eye Hibiscus. You got it there? Yeah. Quite a pretty flower. Let's see in our medicinal book whether it's got any medicinal properties. H. Nothing under hibiscus. Maybe let's try Lion's Eye. These books are quite old and the Latin names of quite a few things have changed over the years. Oh, unfortunately, no, it's just a pretty flower.
With a butterfly in there.
Oh, well, which is a little yellows. See if it opens its wings, see if it's got sulfur tips. Did you see when it came in? That orange or black tips?
Yeah, black tip.
There we go, a little black tip. Oh, one of the yellows, there's quite a few different types of them. I'm getting some pollen. You can see as he took off there how difficult it was for him to fly. And he's a non-noxious species. It's back now. But the problem is, because it's so damp this morning and there's quite a lot of dew, they're finding it quite difficult to move around. It's actually probably one of the first butterflies starting to move, because the damp gets on their wings and it makes flying quite difficult for them, which makes them easy targets for predators. But yeah, we're not going to have too many wildflowers for too much longer as it dries out. Wildflower season's really, prime season is sort of November, December into January. But what makes the wildflowers in these areas so difficult is that some of them will only flower every 2 to 3 years, some of them even only once every 8 years. Obviously we get the more common ones that we see every year, but there's quite a few that have a very, very strange sort of seeding and flowering cycle. taking the long straight roads, our quickest access for moving around the reserve is to use some of these boundary roads. But I think what we'll do, I don't think anyone's checked around Treehouse Dam this morning, so on our way through to the hyena den, it might be worth having a squiz around there. Good morning, Doug from Connecticut. Doug would like to know if we can find predators by tracking prey species. By sort of going, like, for example, with quarantine male the other night, we saw him attempt to stalk some impala. Doug's asking them, would it be not best to go back to the impala and try to figure out if he caught from there, from his tracks and dung, and then establish where he went from there. Doug, it is very difficult because there are a lot more prey species than predators, and one of the other major problems is if a lion and leopard has been seen by a prey species like quarantine male was that night, he'll immediately put up his tail and he'll stop hunting and he'll completely move out of that area. And not always, but I'd probably say 95% of the time he will go try and stalk another herd or get a move away from that area. I mean, when we do find drag marks, so once an animal's killed something and then it's, or specifically leopard, have dragged it away to a tree or to a bush to feed on, then as soon as we've got drag marks, we know we've got a very good chance of being able to track that animal to the spot. But to try and follow the prey species that he was hunting the night before, I mean, it's always possible, but it's very, very unlikely. Oh, tortoise! A little leopard tortoise. So we found a leopard, just not...
Start and end your day on safari.
See if we can get around and have a look at those schnoz. There's an important reason why we don't pick up animals like tortoises. Their defense mechanism is to release their bowels. Very smelly, sticky excrement, but that is also their water supply. So if you pick up a tortoise and he gets a fright and he releases his bowels. There we go, I think that there. Yeah. Releases his bowels, he loses 80% of his water, and because of a tortoise moving so slowly, it's then quite difficult for him to make up that water, and you can actually kill tortoises by handling them. So we try not to pick up animals in the wild too much. This is the leopard tortoise. We get one other species of tortoise in this area, and that's called a Speke's hinged tortoise. And it's named a leopard tortoise after the markings on its shell. So again, that's another species we're probably not going to see too much more of as it gets drier and colder. And that's not so much from the cold, because we don't really get truly cold here for the whole day. Oh, you got a fright. It's more from the lack of water that they hibernate. And the lack of... So they also get quite a lot of their moisture from what they eat and from dew. So when there's less grass and less greenery around, it's harder for them to find food. So that's why you find they hibernate for the driest months of the year. Okay, and with the toys, we shall leave you to munch along and store up energy for the dry season. So we mentioned one predator of tortoises being a lion very occasionally. Can anyone see how many predators of tortoise that you can name? Send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv or just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Definitely getting a bit warmer now. Cut through the jacket. Sun's starting to break through. Oh, it's much better. Amazing, probably half an hour ago, Brian and I were talking about how it was really bad weather. I mean, it was miserable, dark, and it looked like there was drizzle coming in. And now, sun's out, clouds are starting to break up. Probably going to be quite a warm day again. One unique weaver's nest close to the treehouse junction. Oh, look at that. I even joked with Brian earlier that all I was going to find today, while I was tracking very old tracks, I'm going to put it on a white piece of paper so it's easier to see. Be okay here?
Yeah.
Is that too?
Yeah, it'll be good.
Just felt something crawling on my leg, and there's a tick. No, and I was joking about finding ticks on me earlier. Anyway, off you go. Get out of my book. Now I'm going to be itching all over just because I found one, even if there's only one. I'm going to imagine ticks all over my legs now.
Yep, even me now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, you've also got that. Oh, where's it? Where's it? I thought I might go a day without using my hat, but because that doesn't look so. Oh, buffalo. Whoops, there it is. Some buffalo bulls. Oxpeckers in tow. Check the oxpeckers carefully. This is not far from where Mark saw that yellow-billed oxpecker yesterday. Oh, if you have a look down, just down to the right, on the edge of the water from that buffalo, there's an oxpecker bathing, having a little drink and a play in the water. More oxpeckers arriving, you can hear the noise. And some departing, deciding there's obviously not enough ticks on these buffalo. Go ahead. Okay, old men, we'll see you later. Sorry, I didn't copy that. Okay, go ahead with it. We're getting some answers in about tortoise predators. Natalie says humans. That's very correct. Sherry says lions, leopards, cheetahs. No, not cheetahs. Baboons, or monkeys, primates, but not the vervets. Baboons, yes. Hyenas. Crocodiles, it's possible if a tortoise is drinking, but I actually wonder if there's ever been a recorded crocodile predation. Honey badgers, not that I'm aware of. I know actually they do eat baby tortoises, so yes, honey badgers. Oh, I heard something there, guys. False alarm. One of the more interesting predators of tortoises we get out here is ground hornbills. They use that really powerful beak of theirs to break open the shell. moving up towards the hyena den now. Still a little way to go. Big bump. I don't know if can you shoot through that gap there? You see what I'm looking at? If he sits forward a bit maybe.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Test Brian's skill. If he sits for long enough. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Just figure out where you are. Yeah, slightly to the right. Oh, he's gone. That was a pity. There was an African hoopoo, very pretty bird, but he took off before we could focus in on him. Grey and miserable to bright and sunny. It's bright and sunny in about 25 minutes. Good morning, Deborah. Welcome on Drive with us this morning. Deborah would like to know whether ticks in Africa carry Lyme disease. They do not, Deborah. We have a different disease the ticks here carry, called tick bite fever, which has similar symptoms and whatnot to Lyme disease. The other name for tick bite fever is rickettsia. But we have a different form of it here, so not Lyme disease. Virginia is saying I should go stand in the bush and get the oxpeckers to come check me for ticks. I don't think I'm as tough as the buffalo, and those sharp little beaks I think would do me more damage than the tick would. The book. The Virginians can never confused about hornbills eating tortoises, so we're going to just show you which hornbill. Oh, strong wind. 286. These hornbills eat tortoises, and they are 100 centimeters long, so they're a meter tall, and they're very big. I mean, they'll probably weigh upward of around 15 to 20 kilograms. The southern ground hornbill is the one we get here, number 5, and they are ferocious little predators, or big predators. Snakes, tortoises, lizards, bird eggs is another favorite of theirs, as well as all large sort of insects. So I hope that helps clear it up. They're very big. The southern ground hornbill. They are quite rare. They only really occur in national parks and protected areas now. We do get them on Djuma from time to time, but not that regularly. I think someone saw them quite recently, probably about 2 weeks ago. Mark, maybe?
Yeah, I think Mark did.
I think Mark saw some ground hornbills about 2 weeks ago, just before he went on leave, I think. A 2-spot ground beetle, it is. No, don't run away. There we go. Oh, he's here. You got him? Or is he going to despair? Speaking of voracious little predators, that 2-spot ground beetle has got a serious set of jaws on it. Just try and move forward maybe a skosh. Say when? I think might be. There? So I'm going to maybe scoot him back onto the road for a second. You'll see why he's called a 2-spot ground beetle shortly. There you go. This way, dude. Okay, maybe you'll stop there. You see him nicely now? Yeah. You see those 2 spots on the side of his neck? So he gets the name 2-spot ground beetle. Oh, I'm sure he's disappeared again. Okay, shame.
Good though,
we're not going to chase him too much. They're actually quite pretty beetles, or even though they are quite interesting. I said they've got really large mandibles. They can bite really painfully. But the other interesting thing is that most of those ground beetles have the ability to spray formic acid as a defense mechanism against predators. So out from around their mandibles, they can spray formic acid out. Very cool insects. morning, Djuma. Djuma would like to know what bird book I use as a reference. I use a book called, sorry, mine's held together with duct tape, but it's called Birds of Africa South of the Sahara. The reason I use this book as opposed to a Southern African book is because I do travel out of Southern Africa quite frequently. So this helps me because it's got all the rainforest species, the Ethiopian species, the Kenyan and Tanzanian species, not only the ones limited to Southern Africa. So this is Birds of Africa South of the Sahara. Has anyone checked from Kaya this morning? Hyena tracks. Lots of flies up here, especially even that tiny little bit of rain yesterday will cause more flies to hatch. Tickle, tickle, tickle my nose. Flies. I know, yeah. As we went through past that big brown ivy tree, all of a sudden, we collected a whole host of flies. Brian's lucky, he can wave his arms a lot more than I can. Doesn't have to. Make sure we don't hit a tree. And also, I don't want to look silly on camera, smacking myself in the forehead. How's it looking? Been unlucky the last couple of times I've come down to the den. Oh dear. Not seeing anything. Well, it's definitely still using it. A quick look around the back. There's an adult flat under a bush somewhere. Nope. If we have a look at the entrance to the den, you can see it's still the den they're using. There are quite a lot of tracks there. It just doesn't look like they've used it early this morning. There still are tracks all around the entrance, so this is still the den they're using. But with no adults around, or no sub-adults, the little guys are going to stay inside. We lose the flies to the den.
I think so.
Ah! Visiting hyena den has its benefits, even if it is not active. It seems the flies decided that the hyena den was a better place to hang out than on us.
Pretty much just dropped them off.
Yeah, we just dropped them off. We gave them a lift. What's that? Buffalo. Yeah, buffalo. Just a single buffalo bull. Looks like we found some new flies. What have we got hovering over there? quite far away, so it's quite difficult. But just the fact the way it's hovering and the general shape. Look, it's coming closer. That's very kind of you. Yeah, quite difficult to tell. It's right up against the sky, and it is very high. But the general shape, it's going to be it's a brown snake eagle. Amazing. I was just keeping in spot there, checking. Slight movements on the wings and on the tail. Searching for some food. Like we're going to be doing shortly. I thought I heard something smashing around in the bushes. Hello, old man. So just in case if you go, I don't know if you guys can see how many flies are around his body. Actually crazy. And those are the same flies that when we're near buffalo, decide to come visit us. I'll be grazing away from the drainage lines and dams. Sure, as it gets warmer, he'll make his way towards a nice cool spot to rest. Okay, old man. Enjoy your breakfast. Oh, there we go, we've picked up some flies again. Get rid of one bunch, collect a new bunch. Well guys, thanks for joining us this morning. A little bit quiet but fun. Nice seeing that ground beetle. We don't see them too often at the moment. And hopefully the leopards on Djuma are very happy, and fat cats with kills in the bush somewhere that we just can't find at the moment. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you all this afternoon. So from Brian and myself, we're going to hand you over to Mark for the last few minutes of drive. Adios.
Hi all, happy St. Patrick's Day for those of you starting your St. Patrick's Day this morning. And those of you having a fantastic time. Been a very busy morning, I guess. Still not sure. Got to find out from Alex who that leopard was that Brent was with. Still asking, or rather answering a question from Deborah. earlier on, and I didn't get to it because, gosh, so much happened. It's been a fantastic morning, and of course the weather's been changing constantly. Despite the weather and the cool temperatures, the lion was still flat. I came past them after we were with the leopard. I went past the lion. They were in exactly the same position. They were asleep. But the question was, could the vehicle pressure be affecting the condition of the cats? And I can't say that it is. It's the time of the year, the grasses are drying up, the tick load is high, and the time that the vehicles spend with them, as you notice with the cats, most of the time with the cats, we've spent several hours sitting with cats sleeping. You notice that cats sleep a lot during the day. So for a very large proportion of the time when they're sleeping, there are vehicles. And yes, the vehicle pressure is high, but also even with the two sticks and the two Matimbas that we saw now, despite the cycling of vehicles through that sighting all morning, and as it is for a lot of the time with lion, they sleep, they barely lift their head, they barely take notice of the vehicles. They've learned that the vehicles are not a threat. They've learned that the vehicles are not prey as well, so they tend to ignore them to a large extent. And the time that vehicles are not allowed with them, it's discouraged. In fact, it's not really allowed. In between game drive times, like 9 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, vehicles are not really allowed to be driving around, and that is to give the animals a break. And then of course at night there's a maximum of an hour or two that vehicles spend out of a 24, out of the length of nightfall. It's only maybe the first hour or so that there are vehicles that might be with those animals, so they do have ample time and ample opportunity. Well, there's a lot of time without vehicles. I think that yes, to some extent, in fact, probably got a lot of proof of it, that when the vehicles are with animals at dusk or just after dusk, which is a time when they are most likely, or they are most active, having slept a lot, that they are moving, not necessarily hunting, that they might go into a hunt, that the vehicle presence might influence that hunt negatively, and they might lose out. But cats in general are not very efficient predators. They're only sort of, well, they have a very low success rate, slightly higher at night, anywhere from 20 to 25% of their attempts. 1 in 4, 1 in 5. Well, we've got our downtime. We're going to let the animals have their downtime now. We're going to be heading back to camp. And thanks for joining us this morning, all the input. I hope we've managed to address all your questions. Otherwise, join us again this afternoon. We're going to be out again at 4 o'clock Central African time. We'll see what the weather's going to be doing today. I think it's a little bit too windy. We've seen also, just to mention, 3 tortoises, 2 leopard tortoises and 1 hingeback tortoise while we were driving up and down looking for that leopard. I've spent the last probably hour looking for him, and I can't find him. I lost him. I'm an embarrassment to myself. There he was, walking quietly, and it wasn't even that thick. But leopard can do that. They can either just lie down, or they turn around and they walk the other way. Anyways, well, tomorrow for some of you, but this afternoon for us, it's another drive. Some more time to spend out here in Djuma Game Reserve and possibly over in Arathusa. Thanks to Brent and Brian. Thanks to Alex in Final Control. Thank you, Andrew. And my name is Mark, and we'll see you this afternoon for our next drive. Bye, everybody. Lovely luck.